So all this work we just did, this told us about signs, positives or negatives. Remember Descartes, he spells his name weird. It only tells us if they're positive or negative, and we could back into the combos of imaginary. But we have no idea what the zeros could be. We just know the signs. So here we go with tool number 2 for today. Tool number 2 is called the rational zero test. Rational zero test. And I am never going to quiz you or test you about the name of this, but you got to remember the word rational is just a fancy number for a fraction. That's all that is. So here's how we tell the actual possible answers. So you can consider this kind of like an answer bank. This is a great way to think of this. This is an answer bank for our polynomials when we start solving. Now look, let's write down this equation right here. Example 3. F of x is going to equal x to the third, and then we're going to write plus 3x squared, and then we're going to write minus x minus 3. So here's the deal. We can take the first and the last number and we can create our own answer bank. And what this is going to be, it's going to be a fraction. And we are going to put the p on the top. The p is a constant term. We're going to call this p. We're going to call this q. And you can think of it, I know this spelling is horrible, but you can think of this as the leading coefficient for the q. And we are going to list all the possibilities on the top and the bottom of a fraction bar. So remember, the p is on the top. It is p over q. Here's what I'm talking about. Let's examine this number, number 3. We have to list all the possible factors that can possibly be multiplied to make a 3. And guys, 3 is prime, so it's just 1 and 3. 1 times 3 makes 3. That's it. Now we got to do, and I left a space here on purpose, by the way. Now we got to look at the leading coefficient. And the leading coefficient is going to be the number in the front. So the number in the front is just understood to be 1. So this is going to be divided by all the factors that make 1. Now again, 1 is prime, so 1 times 1 is the only thing that we can make. So the reason why I left a little blank right here is because we want all the positive and all the negative possibilities of a fraction that this makes. So look, we really only have 2 combinations here. What's 1 divided by 1? That equals 1. Don't forget, we can have positive or negative 1. Positive 1 and negative 1 is part of my answer bank for this problem. But that's not the only combination that we have here. Let's do it again. I also have 3 over 1. 3 over 1 is just 3, but remember positive and negative. So positive and negative 3 is also in my answer bank. So I have 4 answers in my answer bank. I have positive 1, negative 1, positive 3, negative 3. So these are the all possible zeros, the actual numbers. Let's try that one more time. So let's write down one more equation. Let me organize my work. Okay, so write f of x. I guess we'll call this example 4. Let's go ahead and call this example 4 in case we need to refer back to it. All right, example 4. So this is going to be 3x to the 4th. And then we are going to write minus 3x to the 3rd. And then we are going to write plus x squared. And then we are going to write minus x plus 1. Now, let's examine these numbers. Remember, this number, all the factors are on top, the numerator. I know that took a long time, but all the factors are the numerator. All these factors are the denominator. And don't forget, we're going to do the whole plus minus thing. So the plus minus sign is always happening in this answer bank, in this rational zero test. All right, so since plus minus is always happening, I'm just going to write that first. Then I'm going to draw a fraction bar, and I'm going to list all the factors of 1, which again, guys, is just 1, but that goes to the top. All the factors that make 3, that's a 1 and a 3. So this time, all of the possible answers, 1 divided by 1 is 1, but we want positive and negative. So we're going to have positive and negative 1. You can write it like that. You sure can. That means 2 answers. Just remember that means 2 possibilities. And then we can have a positive 1/3 and a negative 1/3. And you can write them together. Just remember, we have 4 answers in our answer bank. Okay, I'd really like to do one more with you that has numbers that are a little bit different from 1 and 3. So I am actually going to do the first homework problem with you. So your homework is page 32. I'm going to go ahead and do number 1 with you, so you don't even have to start number 1 when you do it on your own. You're just going to start with number 2. But here's number 1. Copy this down with me. It is f of x equals negative 4x to the 7 plus x to the 3rd minus x squared plus 2. Okay, let's do this answer bank. I'm going to find all the positive and negative combos with you, but let's go ahead and do the answer bank since this is what we were working on most recently. So remember, this is going to be the top, all the factors. This, look, is going to be the bottom, all the factors. Now, even though it started with a leading coefficient of a negative, I don't even care about that because I'm just going to use the plus and minus anyway. So let's go ahead and draw our little setup for the rational zero test. I'm going to put all the factors of 2 on the top. Again, it's just 2 and 1 because it's prime. But this 4 has more factors than just 2. So remember, 4 is 1 times 4, and it's also 2 times 2, but you only need to list the factors 1 time. Don't list 2 2's down here. That doesn't work like that. All right, let's analyze these combos. So in my answer bank, let's see how many we're going to come up with. 2 divided by 1 is 2, so we're going to have positive and negative 2. 2 divided by 4 is 1/2, so positive and negative 1/2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so positive and negative 1. Now let's analyze this top number right here, this 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. We already have that, so you don't write any repeats at all. The next number is 1 divided by 4, so we need to add positive and negative 1/4. And then our last option is going to be 1 divided by 2, which is 1/2, but we already have that. So don't write any repeats. So these are our possible answers. It's for sure going to be one of those. It's not going to be anything outside of these numbers that we wrote here. Now let's analyze the sign. All right, I am going to look at possible positive combos. Remember, that is Descartes' rule of signs. So here's the original equation. I kind of wrote over it, but look, you can see it starts negative. Let me analyze these changes. It starts negative. It changes right off the bat to positive. Look, then it changes again to negative. Then it changes again to positive. So there's 3 changes here. So my positive combos are 3, and don't forget to subtract 2, or 1. That's it. Now let's analyze the negative combos. So the negative combos, I will put on this answer blank. I'll just show my work under here. So remember, we're going to plug in a negative x, and the only thing that's going to change are the odd exponents. So that's going to turn into positive 4x to the 7. Ooh, that's changing too because that's odd. So minus x to the 3rd. That's going to stay. I'm just going to recopy that because it's even. And then, of course, a constant doesn't do anything. Okay, let's see the changes now. So remember, it started out positive. Oh, here it is. It's flipped to a negative, stays a negative, but it flips again to a positive. So my negative combos, I have two changes here. So it's going to be 2, and don't forget to subtract 2 every time. 2 minus 2 is 0. All right, good. So your homework is just going to be the rest of page 32. You're going to find the possible zeros, and then you are going to determine the number of negative combos and the number of positive combos.